In the small Midwestern town of Briarfield, Ohio, there was a house on Hawthorne Street that looked like every other house on the block: white siding, blue shutters, a lawn cut short enough to show discipline without love. Inside that house lived Evan Cole, 9 years old, with hair that never stayed flat and eyes that stayed alert, as if waiting for someone to finally notice he was there. Evan's parents were not cruel. That would have been easier to understand. They were simply busy. His father, Mark Cole, worked long shifts managing a distribution warehouse just outside town. His mother, Linda, was a nurse who carried exhaustion home like a second uniform. Conversations in the Cole house were efficient, clipped, and usually about schedules. Homework done? Yes. Dinners in the microwave? Okay. There were no follow-up questions. No, how did it go? No, what made you laugh today? Evan learned early that silence was the default setting. At night, he would lie in bed listening to the hum of the refrigerator downstairs and imagine what it would be like if his parents sat on his bed, asked him about school, about the drawing taped crookedly to the fridge, about the tight feeling in his chest that never seemed to leave. But morning always came, and with it, the rush. Bus, his mother would call, already halfway out the door. And Evan would run. School, at least, was noisy. Briarfield Elementary smelled like pencil shavings and floor cleaner. Kids shouted across hallways. Teachers clapped for attention. Bells rang. And in that noise, Evan discovered something important. Noise got attention. The first time it happened, it wasn't planned. A boy named Lucas Reed sat in front of Evan in 3rd grade. Lucas wore thick glasses and raised his hand too often. One afternoon, when the class was lining up for recess, Evan flicked the back of Lucas's ear. Lucas jumped. "What was that for?" he asked. Evan shrugged. Kids nearby laughed. Not loudly, but enough. The teacher turned. "Evan, is there a problem?" Every eye in the room was on him. His chest warmed. "No," Evan said. But he smiled. That night, when his parents asked the usual questions, Evan waited for something else. "Anything happen at school?" his father asked, already scrolling his phone. Evan hesitated. "I got in a little trouble." Mark looked up. "What kind of trouble?" Evan told him. His father sighed. "Don't do that again." But Evan noticed something important. For a full 30 seconds, his father had looked at him. By 4th grade, Evan had learned the pattern. If he was quiet, invisible. If he caused trouble, seen. He didn't bully everyone. Just certain kids. The quiet ones. The ones who reminded him of himself. He mocked Sarah Nguyen for her accent when she read aloud. He hid Miles Carter's lunch and laughed when Miles cried. He tripped kids in the hallway, whispered insults during group work, rolled his eyes when teachers spoke. Teachers knew his name. Evan Office. Now, principals shook their heads. "Such a smart boy," they said, "but so disruptive." At home, punishments came: no TV, no games, early bedtime. But punishments meant conversations. Conversations meant attention. "What's going on with you?" his mother asked once, tired but concerned. Evan shrugged. "Nothing." But inside, something twisted. He wanted to say, "Look at me. Please." By 5th grade, kids avoided Evan. They whispered when he passed. "Don't sit near him. He's mean." For the first time, Evan noticed the distance. One afternoon, during recess, he shoved Lucas again, harder this time. Lucas fell, scraping his knee. Blood appeared. A teacher ran over. "Why do you keep doing this?" Lucas sobbed. The question hit Evan harder than any punishment. Why did he? The answer scared him. "Because if I stop, no one will notice me at all." The phone call came on a Tuesday. Linda was halfway through a double shift when the school called. Mark left work early. They met in the principal's office, sitting side by side like strangers. "Evan has been suspended for 3 days," the principal said gently. "But more than that, we're concerned." "Concerned about what?" Mark asked. The school counselor, Ms. Alvarez, leaned forward. "Evan isn't just acting out. He's asking for something." They looked at their son through the glass window. Evan sat alone, swinging his feet. "What does he need?" Linda asked quietly. Ms. Alvarez paused. "Attention." The word landed heavily. The suspension days were awkward. Evan expected yelling. Instead, his parents sat at the kitchen table with him. "No phones," his mother said. His father cleared his throat. "We need to talk." Evan waited. "We didn't realize how alone you felt," Linda said. Her voice shook. Evan stared at the table. "You never listen," he whispered. The words surprised all of them. Mark leaned back, stunned. "We work hard, I know." Evan snapped. Then his voice cracked. "But I don't feel like I matter." Silence filled the room, thick and unfamiliar. Linda reached across the table and took Evan's hand. "We're sorry," she said. It wasn't a fix, but it was a start. Change was slow. Therapy sessions began on Thursdays. Evan learned words for feelings he'd only known as pressure, anger, loneliness, fear. At school, he was watched closely. Kids didn't trust him yet. That hurt more than detention ever had. One afternoon, he saw Miles drop his books. Evan froze. Old instincts screamed. Instead, he knelt and helped pick them up. Miles stared at him. "Why are you being nice?" Evan swallowed. "I'm trying something different." Apologies were harder than insults ever were. "I'm sorry," Evan told Lucas one afternoon. "I was mean because I wanted people to look at me." Lucas didn't forgive him right away. "That doesn't make it okay," Lucas said. "I know," Evan replied. And for the first time, he accepted that consequences didn't disappear just because you changed. At home, routines shifted. Friday movie nights, Sunday breakfasts, 10 minutes every night where Evan talked and his parents listened. Really listened. Evan learned that attention didn't have to be loud or cruel. It could be steady, safe. By high school, Evan was different. Not perfect, but aware. When he volunteered as a peer mediator, someone asked why. Evan thought of the boy he used to be. "Because sometimes kids are loud when no one's listening," he said. Evan Cole didn't bully because he was evil. He bullied because he was invisible. And when someone finally looked closely enough to see him, he learned the most important lesson of all. Attention given freely is louder than attention taken by force.